Joe Biden's auto pen orders are terminated. The president announcing, quote, "I am hereby canceling all executive orders and anything else that was not directly signed by crooked Joe Biden because the people who operated the auto pen did so illegally." Joe Biden was not involved in the auto pen process. And if he says he was, he will be brought up on charges of perjury. And as always, thank you for your attention to this matter. So how does this work legally? Let's ask constitutional law attorney and former federal prosecutor Andrew Cherkasky. Good morning, Andrew.
Good morning, Emily. Yes, President Trump has absolute authority to cancel prior executive orders, whether it was done with or without a auto pen. So his decision and the announcement that he made actually is to some degree is surprising. He could have on day one undone any executive order that was done by President Biden. The fact that it was or was not the auto pen is not even an issue that prevents President Trump from pulling back those executive orders. The more interesting question, I think, comes in when we start to look at the pardons that President Biden signed with an auto pen.
Totally. So talk to us about that and the process that it would take to determine, is this a court decision, a court determination, whether essentially executive power was indeed delegated completely and fully? Is there fraud involved? How does that play out?
Well, so first, the executive orders that President Trump wants to pull back from, he can do those. There's not going to be any legal review of those. It can be quite difficult to kind of unravel, especially some of the more administrative type executive orders. But when we're talking about the pardons, I think that the only way to really test whether the pardons are or are not legally sufficient is if at some point the administration decides to prosecute one of those people who were pardoned, and then that would be something that was challenged through the court system. I think it's very difficult to support the idea that any of those pardons are completely legal. One of the issues that I think is the most telling isn't even the auto pen issue. It's that the pardon themselves was pardoning people for all crimes known and unknown. How can a person pardon someone from a crime if they don't even know that it was committed? So I think that not even the auto pen, but just the nature of the text alone suggests that President Biden was just engaging, or his staff was engaging in pardons that have no meaning or effect when played out in the long run.
Right. And I think also a potential avenue would be to sort of restore those sentences that were commuted and see what happens after that. But I feel strongly that the courts would be on their side. That's just my opinion. You are the expert, though, Andrew. Thank you so much for joining us, as always.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger. No, Will Robinson. Danger.
We need to make sure that we have tight and appropriate and proper vetting. If there were gaps that admitted this person, they would have failed over multiple levels of gaps. And this individual was trusted enough to participate in assisting our military during the war in Afghanistan. So I just think, the president looks everywhere except inward to blame his own policies.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
We need to make sure that we don't have our military deployed in our cities where handling law enforcement responsibilities.
Huh?
And we need to make sure that we address gun violence.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
We certainly need to make sure we always have the proper and appropriate and tight vetting processes, and those should be reviewed. But it's never the president's fault or his policies when it comes to his reaction, and it's pretty disgusting.
You can't make a deal with these people. They're lunatics. They've gone crazy. They're crazed people. Trump derangement syndrome. There really is that disease. At first I found it to be amusing. Now I find there really is.
Oh, this level of ignorance, stupidity, it gets extremely exhausting.
You know who can't get murdered? Military personnel that should have never been sent there in the first place.
You know that there's a father who's grieving the loss of his daughter? Do you care at all? Because, your screen says FDT, so that means that you suffer chronically from TDS. Strange, because I don't hear too many people complaining about it. The National Guard's there to begin with to combat crime, which they've done a great job of, by the way, and to restore safety. I have no issues with that whatsoever. We don't need it where I'm at, but if they were here, I'd ask for a picture and shake their hand and say, God bless. There is not one single legitimate reason that justifies what happened to those 2 guardsmen. Not one. Are not a good human being. You're not.
Florida Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna joins us now. Thank you so much, Congresswoman, for joining us. It does seem like the Democrats' argument right now is that these National Guard troops kind of had it coming because Trump shouldn't have put them there in the first place.
Yeah, that's a pretty abhorrent perspective for them to have. I think it would provide context, though, that they clearly don't know what they're talking about or even maybe understand what the purpose of the National Guard is. A lot of these people are either homegrown or lent from out of state to basically help secure Washington. I'll just give you a little example here, okay? First of all, the American people might not know this, but a majority of members of Congress, to include Democrats, are concealed carrying in Washington because of how bad it was up until President Trump took over, okay? This is the same party that's trying to take away your gun rights. Meanwhile, they were the ones that were fast-tracking their own concealed carry permits. Aside from that, I was in Washington when a Democrat member of Congress was mugged, basically had his even sushi stolen. Not just that, but it was one of the most dangerous crime-ridden cities in the world, basically, up until President Trump put the National Guard there. So for them to say or try to even justify the murder of this one beautiful woman, Sarah Beckstrom, who was an absolute patriot, is abhorrent. Frankly, I think that right now that this country can see exactly what they're doing. And the fact that you even had members of Senate come out, even previous to this, saying that basically members of the armed forces should commit sedition, that's completely unacceptable.
So, of course, President Trump has taken a couple of steps, stopping all asylums from anywhere in the world and then halting immigration from third world countries. This is a smart first step, I guess.
I 100% back him, and I hope that Congress can codify something related. What I will, again, from this perspective, explain is that right now, under the current system that we have in place, there have been so many illegals that have come in unvetted, unchecked under the Biden administration that our system is bogged down. In fact, a majority of the cases that we take as congressional offices, constituent services, are immigration related. We have people wanting to come here legally, but they can't even get through the process because, again, so many people have come here the wrong way. And so I would actually say that we need to pause everything until the system can actually catch up. But yes, there's no reason why we need to be taking in people that A, don't want to assimilate, and B, I don't even know that they can contribute much to the current society that we have because they might not actually be skilled in whatever they are trying to come here for. And so I back him on that, but it's unfortunate what happened because had the proper vetting been done, right, I don't believe that this individual would have been able to come to this country.
Absolutely.
Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, ring that notification bell so you know every time I post a new video. If you like what I'm doing over here, you want to show a little extra love and support, be sure to check out our website, crownandthread.com. That's where you can grab all the awesome clothes you see me wearing in all of my videos. Like this one, it says, "He conquered as the lamb, returns as the lion." You know, the Lion of Judah, that would be King Jesus. And these are all handmade by my beautiful wife. We got tons of different designs to choose from, Christian, conservative, sizes ranging from itty bitty extra small to big and hefty 5X for my folks that like to eat. Bunch of different colors. It's all gooder than chicken to me. Of course, I'm biased though, but I'm sure we've got something that you look great rocking or that'll make an awesome gift for someone you love. We also sell some pretty sweet woodworking pieces made by my father-in-law, crosses, hearts, charcuterie boards. Definitely go check those out as well. If you'd like to support in other ways, you can buy me a coffee, hit that thanks button. You can become a member of the Gibson family right here on YouTube. All those links are down below in the description section. Listen, by no means do you have to do any of that stuff. Just showing up and watching my freckle face for a few minutes, that means the world to me, seriously. And I love y'all. I truly can't thank you enough for rocking with me throughout the years. Whether you've been here since I started back in 2017 when I was doing music reactions, or you're a recent subscriber subscriber. By the grace of God, through my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and with y'all's support, my life couldn't be any better. Seriously. So thank you. And until next time, I'll be praying for you. Godspeed. I'm gone.